time because you have another session at 4:30. That's a webinar. Uh, Let me begin with the crew lobby. We had discussed up to crew lobby prior to this session, and I have already uploaded 6 PPTs. The other 2 PPTs, I will share it in your Google Drive immediately after the class. I will try to share it between 4:15 to 4:30 so that you can have a look at those PPTs after the program gets over. The crew lobby is a place where the crew, they are required to report for signing on and signing off. It is the place where the crew reports to perform the journey, to begin the journey. And after completion of the journey, this is the same location where he is supposed to sign off in the system. The total time from the time he signs on to the time that he signs off, it is counted as duty hours on duty. So at this place, you have to be careful that we don't ask him to sign on if there is no train for him. We should not ask him to wait for the arrival of the train for more than a certain time limit which is given to us, because it may happen that if he is waiting for 2 hours, out of 8 hours, 2 hours is already wasted, and now he will perform journey only for 6 hours, whereas he will get the benefit for the entire 8 hours. And as it is, we are running short of the crew, and we will be requiring replacement after 8 hours. So crew lobby is the place. This is also the location where the loco pilot, and the entire crew, not only LP, the entire crew, they undergo the breath analyzer test. I will talk about breath analyzer test when we discuss the safety in train operation. That will be later. That is the second part of the presentation today. The lobbies are a place where all basic data of loco pilot, basically crew, wherever I have written LP, it means crew, it is being maintained. And they are now provided with all crew-friendly environment. Earlier, they were not like the way we see them today. They are now air-conditioned with very good furniture, computers are available and everything is connected. Net connectivity is also there. And all the instructions and the manuals, they are available in digital form for him to read or to update his knowledge. He can see the caution orders in digital form, and he can also have a look at the section which he is supposed to travel during his journey. A lot of friendly environment, crew-friendly environment, it has been created in a crew lobby. I had spoken about the loco inspector, and they are very important link as far as the safety in train operation is involved. In a big division, we have somewhere around 1,000 crew members, 500 plus loco pilot and 500 plus assistant loco pilots. And it is not possible for the officers to interact with all of them at regular interval. And the interaction is required to make sure that they are technically up to date, as well as they are ready and they know the safety related different instructions which have been issued from time to time. The loco inspectors, they play this important role to monitor the performance of loco pilot, and they are responsible to ensure that the knowledge is being upgraded as and when a new instruction is being issued for implementation by the crew. And the simplest method of doing it is to counsel them as and when they need. He ask them certain questions about the latest instructions which have been issued. If the crew, they answer it properly, it means they have gone through it and they have understood it. And in case there is some lack of knowledge or the crew did not understand the entire instructions properly, then the counseling is required and he does it on the spot itself. The monitoring of driving techniques and load running, these are important criteria. The driving skills of two loco pilots, it's not identical. Some of them, they don't use brake at regular interval to control the train, whereas there are some loco pilots who are used to using the brakes to control the speed of the train. which results in loss of energy and also wear and tear on the brake blocks and the wheel. So driving skills, appropriate driving techniques have to be used so that the train runs smoothly, it stops and starts without having any jerks in the train. And at the same time, the road learning is also required whenever we induct a new loco pilot in a division. A particular section is allotted for him to operate the train. For example, in Vadodara, we have three routes in which the loco pilots are required to perform their journey. We have from Vadodara to Ahmedabad, Vadodara to Ratlam, and then Vadodara to Surat. A loco pilot is assigned a particular section and he performs the journey only on that section after acquiring knowledge about the entire route. The knowledge which he acquires is known as the process of road learning for him. And loco inspectors, they help him to understand the route properly. They accompany loco pilot during daytime. They accompany loco pilot during night time. And both the loco pilot and the loco inspector, they travel in the train without actually performing the train operation. They stand behind the loco pilot who is driving the train, and they understand the different locations which are there in the section. It can be location of the LC gate, location of the neutral section, location of the stations, and the locations of all the signals, loop line, main line, and yard lines, and the gradient, the curvature, and how he's supposed to perform his duty and how he's supposed to control the train. That is also being taught by the loco inspector to newly recruited loco pilots. So this interaction is important. They also inform him all the areas which are accident prone area where the people are not the road users, they are not prepared to follow the rules of the train working, where they have the tendency to cross the track even when the level crossing is in closed condition. So there are certain identified hotspots which are prone for accident. So all that knowledge, it is being shared by loco inspector to the loco pilot, and the loco pilot, the crew biodata, it is always updated in the diary. He also maintains a diary. There is a diary which is available with the crew, and the same biodata, it also gets updated into the system. In case the loco pilot, he finds any trouble on run, he immediately contacts loco inspector on his CUG mobile phone, and the loco inspector is supposed to assist him in troubleshooting the locomotive and to ensure that the train performs its journey. In case the loco inspector is unable to solve the problem, then the matter is reported to the crew controller or the loco controller that we have in the control office, and they try to solve the issue. And even if there is something which is more serious in nature, then the matter is reported to AEE operation, who then gets involved into the troubleshooting part of it. Most of the time, the local inspectors, they are capable enough to handle the situation, but once in a while, the matter also gets reported to junior scale TRO officer, who should also know the circuit and troubleshooting during the either during the first or 2 months of his posting, or he should understand it when he undergoes the training at green. So the role of the officer is also there when the troubleshooting of electrical locomotive is required. The loco inspector, it is also a very good job. Only those class A super loco pilots who have worked on Rajdhani or Shatabdi kind of a train for more than 12 to 15 hours, they are nominated or they are allowed to work as loco inspector, and only if they are willing to work as local inspector. That is the basic criteria, and their past record is also very good. They are not supposed to be charge sheeted anytime during the service. They should not have caused any accident or derailment during the entire service, and they must have not overshooted any signal which is at danger. So their past record should be very good, and along with it, they should also have a very good sound technical knowledge regarding the operation of the locomotive and troubleshooting of the locomotive. So the loco inspector lot, it is one of the most respected lot that we have in the community, that we have for the different supervisors in different departments. So they command a lot of respect, not only from the loco pilots and the assistant loco pilots, but they also command a lot of respect from their own colleagues in different departments. This is how the organization it looks like. Uh, uh, we have senior D. He is assisted by one senior skill or junior skill officer, who is assisted by traction loco controller and crew controller. We have the CLI or the loco inspectors. Then the trip shed is managed by SSE, and the trip inspection it is being carried out in trip shed. We have CTAs, supervisory level CTA, Chief Technical Assistant. His role is to keep everything up to date regarding the biodata of the pilot, loco pilots, and in case there are any instruction from the headquarters which are supposed to be circulated or which are supposed to be brought into the knowledge of the crew, then he uploads it in the system, gets their acknowledgement, and make sure that everybody has gone through it and he has understood it. In case somebody is having a doubt or regarding the implementation of the instructions, then he is also supposed to prepare something similar to the executive summary, where he breaks it down into the form of the bullets so that the instructions can be understood. So the role of the CTA is to interpret the instructions and to convert them into a language which can be understood easily by the crew. So that is all that I wanted to talk about loco operation. I will switch over to the next slide, which is related to safety operation, safety in train operation, or the safety which is there, which is related to crewman. Now let us talk about the second part of train operation. First one was related to management of crew and loco. And the second important responsibility of the RO organization is to ensure safety during the operation of trains. The safety related issue, it starts even before the loco pilot they join the organization, and safety is paramount for all of us. It is to be taken care of by each and every employee of Indian Railway, and we should not compromise safety under any circumstances. Before the loco pilot, he is inducted into the system. He is supposed to undergo a psychometric test. This psychometric test it is being carried out by different organizations where safety and the security of the organization is involved, and it is also being done before posting a loco pilot to operate a Rajdhani or Shatabdi train, because by the time a loco pilot becomes eligible to operate the Rajdhani train, he has already completed somewhere around 20 to 25 years of service. And there is a possibility that some of the points which I have mentioned below, there is some deterioration in his overall performance ever since he was he had undergone a psychometric test at the time of joining the Indian Railways. Some of the tests which are carried out in the psychometric test, they are mentioned in the slide. The first one is the reaction time. He should be very alert, should have taken, should be able to decide the decision on a split second basis. There is a some of the example why we need faster reaction time in surveys or situation when the aspect of the signal gets changed. It becomes from green, it immediately jumps to red, and he's supposed to apply the emergency brakes. Or he finds that when he is negotiating a level crossing rate, all of a sudden a two-wheeler is trying to pass right in front of the train, and he's supposed to apply the brake or press the horn. There is a possibility that he notices that some foreign material is available on the track for which he had no pre-warning with him. And if he does not control the train may get delayed. All such situations, they warrant that the reaction time of the crew should be as low as possible so that he can initiate appropriate decision. The second test which is being carried out is regarding the form perception. He should be able to identify the objects which are visible to him when he is performing the journey. He should know whether the uh, track which is in front of him, whether it is clear for to run the train at 140 kmph, or in case there is something on the track, he should be able to identify whether it's a human being or it's a boulder or whether it's a truck or whatever it is. So he should be able to immediately recognize whether what kind of an object is available on the track can affect the safety of the train. The third test which he is supposed to undergo is related to perception of the speed. He does not have the speedometer in front of him when he undergoes his test. A movie is displayed at a varying speed, and he is supposed to judge the speed of the vehicle which is being shown to him in a particular range. Should be able to identify that the vehicle is moving at a speed of 80 to 100 kmph or 30 to 40 kmph. So he should have some intuition to identify as to at what speed the object is moving, which is shown to him in a movie during the test. The concentration level is also important, that he should not lose his concentration when he has nothing to do. Like when a loco pilot, he is driving a Rajdhani train, the times interval between two stop is somewhere around 3 kilometers on an average. If a train stops at one station, the next stop for the Rajdhani will come after at least after 2 hours or more than 2 hours. Rajdhani also gets the precedence on all other mail express and goods train. The signal aspects, they don't get changed immediately. If it's green, it will remain green for him. So he has nothing much to do other than to remain alert to see any obstruction which he may encounter during the journey. Since there is no activity or no perception amount, no amount of activity which he has to perform, there is a tendency that he may go into a small nap, and nobody is talking to him when he is driving the train, and he has also has no work, so he is totally blank as to what to do. In case he loses the concentration and if there is some obstruction in the path of the train, it may cause a derailment or accidents. So concentration is also being tested when we carry out the psychometric test. And the way of doing it is that when a fast moving situation is being given to him and he's supposed to count or identify how many stations were displayed onto the screen, how many cars were there in that particular movie, what was the color of the different objects which was there. So based on a one visual which is shown to him, he's supposed to answer certain number of questions, and there we can identify whether he was whether how good or how bad his concentration is. The other one is the visual differentiation. It is something similar to the form perception. He should be able to identify or differentiate different visuals which are being shown to him. So these are some of the tests, and after completing the test and after passing the test, he is then recruited to work as the loco pilot. A large number of people, they don't qualify to become loco pilot because they are not in a position to clear the psychometric test. It is a very well established test which is being conducted by medical department, and there is no ambiguity in the result. The results are always up to the mark. In addition to the alertness which is required for the loco crew, the physical health and the fitness is equally important, and therefore we monitor their physical health at regular interval. We do it at the time of appointment. Then medical minimum medical category is A1, which is required. Then after every 4 years, up to 45 years of age. After every 2 years, between 45 to 55 years of age, and every year above 55 years of age, it is being carried out on the loco crew. And as and when he is deputed for the medical examination, the entry is recorded in his biodata. And after the completion of the test, the success or whether he has, whether he was supposed to undergo a repeat of the medical examination, even that is also recorded. Each staff, they are supposed to carry two sets of specs, and it is being done to ensure that in case one of them gets broken or gets fallen during the run, he has another spare set to perform the duty. Uh, in case the he loses both the sets, then the assisting loco pilot, he is arranged at the first available opportunity. Normally, the loco pilots, class के बाद करूँ? Normally, the loco pilots, they carry one pair of specs in their personal belongings, which they carry every time they perform the journey, and the other pair they carry with them in their pocket. It ensures that they don't lose the pair of specs, two pairs of specs which he is supposed to carry on the journey. The training is the third aspect which can improve the overall safety of train operation. It is assumed that a person who is trained and if he is willing to apply the knowledge which he has gained during the training, he will be able to avoid accidents and collisions. The initial training is very tough. It is for 76 weeks. And during the training, he is supposed to understand the circuit of different types of locomotives. He should understand the working of individual components. He should be able to, he should know the control circuit and the power circuit. And at the same time, he should be able to identify the fault and isolate the fault. So it's a purely technical training, and training becomes quite heavy to some of the newly recruited loco pilots. The promotional courses are being arranged when they are getting promoted in the cadre, and refresher courses are also arranged for the regular loco pilots after every 3 years. As we are introducing new technologies in Indian Railway, uh, I will take a minute, please. sorry for the interruption. The loco pilots, they are also undergoing the refresher courses once in every 3 years. We also conduct refresher courses for them, and the refresher courses, they are conducted in the JTC, and uh, they are, when we conduct the JTC, they are basically being taught about the safety which is to be followed by them during the operation, all safety related instructions and training. It is being given in JTC. The technical courses, they are conducted by the departmental training institutes. We have departmental training institutes at different locations, and at most of the locations, they are attached to electric loco sheds, so that they can also get hand-on experience in the loco shed itself. And the crew, they are supposed to clear the examination. Unless until they clear the examination, they are not considered. It is not considered that they have passed the refresher course. The people who conduct these technical courses and the safety courses, they are very strict, because they know that the safety depends to a large extent on the proper working by the crew when they perform their duty. So the examination, the level of examination is also quite high, and they also make them work during the entire training. So, they keep updating their syllabus according to the requirement, and each and every crew, he is supposed to go for the refresher courses on multiple number of occasions during the service. The other important aspect that uh, identifies the proper driving skills that a particular loco pilot has is by implementing the scheme of gradation card. We have cards of 3 different color, and the a particular color card is being issued as per his performance. The loco inspector, he is supposed to monitor performance of 25 loco pilots and 25 assistant loco pilots. He monitors their record, their technical knowledge, and their driving skill. He also counsel them as and when there is a need to counsel them, and he also issues the gradation card to the loco pilots. Now, the gradation cards are, we have the highest category, that is the white card, and it is a category pass, which is issued to the loco pilots who are exemplary in their service. We have green card, which is being issued to loco pilots who have good knowledge, but there is still a scope of improvement in their performance. And a red card is issued to the people, to the either to the newly recruited pilots or the pilots who were involved in the accidents. So these are the two categories for which we issue the red card. Now, when we issue the red card, green card, and white card, you can see that a certain amount of discretion is available to loco inspector when he issuing different category of cards, or when he is upgrading or degrading the rank of the loco pilot. Whenever we have some human interference where the examination is not done on paper and paper based kind of a pen and paper based kind of a system, it can be subjected to scrutiny at a later stage. The discretionary power, it may be challenged by some other people. We have incidences where the loco pilots have reported that they, although they are worth having a white card, but the loco inspector, he has not given them the white card because he does not like him, or whatever be the personal relationship. They may also say that during the last 1 year, the loco inspector has not issued even a single white card to any one of them, although he has 50 people who are reporting to him for counseling purposes. Now, whenever we get such kind of issues or such kind of complaints, then it's the responsibility of TRO organization to examine them completely. All such reporting is not to be ignored, because it may have some basis for the loco pilots to speak against their own loco inspectors. The first possibility is, yes, that the loco inspector was biased. That is why he did not issue the white card. The second possibility is that the pilot himself, although he feels he is capable to have the white card, but he was not up to mark, and that is why the loco inspector has not issued white card to any one of them. So just because we have received the complaint, it does not mean that either the pilot is at fault or the loco inspector is at fault. Whenever we get such complaints, we make a note of it, and whenever we get the opportunity to travel with the loco pilot in the cab, we try to evaluate his complaint. We look for the substances or we look for the evidences to judge or to make the decision whether the complaint was genuine or not. Case we find that the complaint is genuine, then we remove the loco inspector from his post, and he again comes back to the loco pilot category. And if the complaint is false to the loco pilot from the loco pilot side, normally we don't punish him for the complaint. Although most of you will say that if the loco inspector is getting punished, why the loco pilot is not getting punished? But again, we have limited number of people with us, and somewhere we have to, may keep their moral high, and we also have to keep the channel open all the time, so that whenever we get the complaint, some of them will be bogus complaint, but some of them will have some substances into it. So if we start punishing the loco pilot, there is a possibility that nobody will come forward for the coming forward for the complaint. Secondly, if somebody deserves a white card and if he has not been given the green card, then it is not a very big issue to the extent, because his salary is not getting increased or not getting decreased, and the his overall performance is also not getting affected. But the moment we realize that loco inspector is biased, that is something which is going to affect the overall safety of the organization. So therefore, whenever we get a complaint which is against the local inspector and it is proved that he is guilty, then suitable action is taken against the local inspector. Secondly, loco inspector is one category who has performed a service of more than 12 to 15 years. He has a very excellent track record. His knowledge is good. So we normally don't come across such kind of loco inspectors who have, risen from the rank. He has also undergone the same treatment which was given to him, and normally they are honest to their duty. And loco inspector, as I have told earlier, it is one of the respected lot. Not many people get the chance to become loco inspector, and not many people get the chance to become Rajdhani and Shatabdi loco pilots. So once this opportunity is available to a person, he will not like to lose that opportunity for the rest of his career. So because there is a rule that if we remove a loco inspector, he will not be allowed to become loco inspector again. So the punishment is quite severe, and chances are very less that he will be partial towards a particular loco pilot. But everybody is a human being. Exceptions are always there, and we have to take care of those exceptions. Breath analyzer test, it is important, and it has played a very important role to improve the overall safety. And it has developed over a period of time after we gained a lot of experience when we introduced breath analyzer test into the system. Initially, it was done only before the signing on to know whether they are in an intoxicated condition, whether they have consumed some liquor before reporting to duty. There were incidences where the driver was perfectly all right at the time of sign on. He did something on the run, consumed liquor, and at the time of sign off, he was totally not in his senses. That is exaggeration on my part. But then it was decided that we should have sign on and sign off both. We should also introduce the concept of sign off, because anyway he's reporting to crew lobby or the local lobby, whatever we call it. The lobby is same. So why not why not subject him to another breath analyzer test, because it hardly takes 2 to 3 minutes. So this concept was introduced that he has to now do it at the at the time of sign on and at the time of sign off. For some of the Mail Express pilots, crew, and for almost all Rajdhani pilots, the journey is more than 6 hours at a stretch. There is a possibility that he was all right at the time of sign off. I sign on. He consumes liquor during the first hour of the journey. and by the time he gets down or he is off from his duty and he reports for the signing off, the effect has come down to such an extent that it cannot be, traced using the breath analyzer test. After all, it is checking the concentration in the breath that is there for the pilot and the co-pilot. So this was another issue which was brought to the notice, and we were supposed to devise a system to take care of the issues during the run, and that is why the surprise test or the concept of surprise test, it was introduced for the crew. Now we have portable breath analyzer which are available at different locations in the section, and it can be used by any staff of or supervisor of any department on the crew if the authorization is given to them. The authorization is always given by the senior D operation that please carry out the breath analyzer test on run on Mr. So and so and Miss so and so, and they ask him to undergo the breath analyzer test. The crew are duty bound to get the test done, and the report is then submitted to the control office. In case he is tested positive during the breath analyzer test, then he is asked to undergo medical test immediately by reporting either at the railway hospital or a medical dispensary or one of the nominated hospital, and he is supposed to reach there within half an hour so that the concentration of the in the blood, it is adequate enough to get the test. Medical report is nothing. He is supposed to give his blood sample and get it tested. This was also implemented because when we tried to take action against the crew, some of the people or some of the crew members, they reported that the breath analyzer was not working properly. He is a complete teetotaler. He has never consumed any kind of liquor. So the breath analyzer test was faulty, and he should not be punished for that. The punishment is very heavy, because the his inaction or his breaking the rule, it may infringe safety for the entire train operation. We also realized that other than the printout that we have from the breath analyzer test, we should also try to have some other supporting document to remove the any doubt or to remove the ambiguity which has been raised by the loco pilot. Therefore, we ask them to go for the medical test in which they have to give their blood sample, and the blood sample is tested in the authorized lab, and the report is now made available to us for taking the necessary action. So once after introduction of surprise test by breath and portable breath analyzer, and after introducing the medical test, in case a loco pilot gets tested positive, the incidences have almost become zero now. We hardly find anybody who is being caught in the breath analyzer test. People have also realized that the system has become very strong and the penalty is also very strong. So people now don't take chances, and uh, they may enjoy their hobby or their habits after the duty hours, but nobody does it during the duty hour or just prior to start of his duty hours. Yet each loco pilot, he carries a performance book with him, where all these parameters are recorded: promotion, suitability certificate, safety categorization, road learning particulars, medical examination particulars, safety courses particulars which he has done, and the counseling which he has undergone. Even if you, any one of you, if you travel in the locomotive for foot plating as part of your duty, the loco pilot, he will offer you a performance book, and you are supposed to he will request you to give your remarks. He will only make you a request. It is not mandatory or not compulsory, but since you have accompanied him, it is important that you leave your footprint in the form of writing something in his performance book. If everything is all right, you may give some comments which which is which appreciate his good driving skill. And if you find that there is some serious mistake or there is some issue which is supposed to be brought into the knowledge of loco inspector and the officer, then you can also record a small comment regarding the area where you feel that there is a scope of improvement. There are certain officers who don't record in the loco performance book, but they prefer to talk to AE operation directly, and they provide the details, biodata details of the loco pilot, and they also narrate the incidents or their feelings or their observation during the journey. Be assured, whatever you bring into the notice of AE operation, it always gets implemented immediately. It is brought to the notice of loco inspector. It is also brought to the notice of the loco pilot, and the necessary corrective actions, they are immediately started by the local inspector. So it's a the feedback, it can be a positive feedback or it can be a negative feedback regarding the performance of the loco pilots. The other point of word of caution that I will like to make here, that when you are foot plating along with the loco pilots, please don't disturb him during the journey. Don't ask him many questions so that his overall attention gets diverted. Don't ask him to turn around and explain you the working of different components or the equipments which are provided in the loco cabs, or don't get into some personal discussions with him which can affect his alertness, and he may pass the signal at danger, or he may forget to negotiate a curve properly. There are incidences where the accidents or the derailments have taken place, and the loco pilots and the crew, they put the blame squarely on the people who were accompanying them in the loco cab. uh, Sometimes the supervisors, they also accompany or they travel in the loco cab. Sometimes officers, they also travel in the loco cab, and they because they are curious to know about the working of the locomotive, they get into some kind of interaction, and sometimes the interactions, they come to a level of personal interaction where they lose the entire focus. The loco pilots, they have recorded in their defense that Mr. So and so, supervisor of this department, or Mr. So and so, officer of this department, along with five other officers or five other supervisors, they were traveling in the cab. So if the cab or loco cab is overcrowded with so many people in the cab, he is bound to make mistakes, and that it becomes a very complicated situation for the officers to decide either in favor of the loco pilot or against the loco pilot. So even if you have the temptation, ask him the questions during the stop, or when you feel that one or two small questions can help you to know about his working environment, but don't bombard him with n number of questions that he gets irritated and loses the control. The other issue is that never ever ask him to give the control of the loco to you. Don't try to operate the handle or try to control the train. We can't learn it overnight. Needs lot of practice, and a proper certificate is required. Authority is required to operate the locomotive, especially the mail express and the goods train. So don't put yourself and the loco pilot in an awkward position by asking him to allow you to drive the train. Yes, I know it will give a lot of thrill, but it may be dangerous as far as safety is involved. So we have to control the urge of to drive the train. These are some of the equipments which are provided in the with the pilot. He is supposed to carry all these equipments in his personal bag, which he brings from his home. And after performing the journey, he takes this bag along with him. It's now a smaller bag. Earlier, it used to be a trunk, metallic trunk. GSR book, accident manual, working timetable, caution order of the section, timings, detention diary, the tricolor torches, red and green hand flags. These are some of the items which he is supposed to carry along with him when he reports for duty. And sometimes the personal equipment bag of the loco pilot, it is also being checked either by the people who are manning the loco lobby, or sometimes it is also being checked by the AE operation during the footplate examination. During the footplate examination, the AE operation, he asked him to open the bag, and all these things, it should be available with him all the time. These are some of the safety items which are part of the locomotive, and he is not supposed to load or unload for the start of the journey. Fire extinguishers, wooden wedges, safety clamps, spare BPFP pipe, and the phone was earlier part of the crew equipment. We had VHF set. We also still are giving VHF set, but CUG is now universally accepted, and the network connectivity is very good all along the route. So CUG has become now preferred mode of communication between the crew and the controller. We have many devices, safety devices, which are there to assist the loco pilot for safe operation. I have listed all of them here. The flasher light is one. SMON is the second one. Vigilance control device, anti-collision device, auxiliary warning system, train protection and warning system, and fog pass. So these are the six different safety devices which are provided in the locomotive. In the subsequent slides, I will explain the brief function of each and every device, and I will also try to show some of these cameras, some of the block diagrams regarding their operation in the system. The flasher device is the one of the safety devices that is available on the locomotive. Then it is LED type flickering umber light. We use umber light because the visibility is very good. On a clear day, the visibility is 1 kilometer during the daytime, and so you can imagine the intensity of light that we have. That during the sunlight, we can see a flasher light at a distance of 1 kilometer, and it is 2 kilometer during the night time. So 2 kilometer is quite a distance for the loco pilot of the train who's coming from opposite direction to see if something is wrong on the in the train, which is supposed to be moving on the opposite different track. It automatically switches on in case of train parting or alarm chain pulling. The circuit is designed in such a manner that without the intervention of the loco pilot, it automatically switches on. And it is also supposed to be switched on in case of accidents. It can be derailment or collision. When there is an accident, there is a derailment, it may infringe the track which is adjoining the, if the train is on down track, it may infringe the up track. The track which is meant to carry the passengers in opposite direction, it may get infringed. In order to warn the pilot of the incoming locomotive that the other track is also infringed because of the derailment of collision, the flasher light is supposed to be switched on by the loco pilot. These are the instructions regarding the use of flasher light. It is not supposed to be turned out from the shed or the maintenance depot. It may be a trick shed also. If the flasher light is not in working condition, when it is switched on, simultaneously the headlight is switched off. It is done so as to improve the visibility of the flasher light. And the pilot of the approaching train, when he observes the flasher light, he should immediately stop his train either using the normal brake or by using the emergency application of brake in case the distance is less. And he should stop short of flasher location. Means he should stop his train without crossing the location of this flasher light. There is a possibility that the loco itself is derailed, and the loco after derailment, the loco itself is infringing the his own particular right of way, or infringing his own track. It may be up line or down line. So in case he does not stop short of flasher light, he will get into collision with the loco of opposite of the other train. So the instructions are whether he uses normal brake or he applies emergency brake, he is not supposed to cross the location of the flasher light to ensure safety of his own train. The other equipment is SMON, which is provided, which is now extremely, which is being used on different occasions to to find out the performance of the loco pilot prior to the point of accident. Here in this particular system, we monitor and record the energy consumption and the speed which was there during the journey. It's an upgraded version. Earlier we had the speedometer, which and we could record only the speed. The energy was not getting recorded into it. But when we introduced three-phase locomotive and energy conservation in traction system also gained some momentum. The speedometers, they were replaced by SMON with additional features, and some of the additional features were that like we can measure or record different parameters which are related to energy, like voltage, current, active power, reactive power, or power factors, and the frequency and other parameters that we have for monitoring the energy. Then it has a long-term digital memory in which 90 days data can be recorded, and after 90 days, it's a roll first in first out kind of an arrangement that after 90 days, the last data gets erased automatically and new data gets stored into the system. And it also has a short-term memory to record the history for the last 6 hours, and it is recorded at the interval of 10 seconds. So this is very short duration to record the performance of the locomotive, but it is important to know what has actually happened immediately prior to the accident or derailment. It works as a black box of an aeroplane. We can take the microprocessor chip from the equipment. We take it to the control room where we have the software and a dedicated computer on which we can, replicate the incidences or the entire scenario which was there prior to the accident, and we can find out. We try to find out the probable cause of accident or derailment. The speed analysis can also be done to make sure whether the loco pilot he has negotiated the speed restriction as per the prescribed speed restriction which is imposed by civil engineers. If there is a speed restriction of 30 kmph in a section, we can check it using the recording which is there in SMON, whether he negotiated that particular section with a speed less than 30 kmph or with a speed which was more than 30 kmph. And then suitable action is initiated. The energy consumption is also getting recorded for a particular train, especially for the Mail Express train. We know the maximum speed which it can attain in a section. We also know the load which is going to be there on average basis in that train. So we simulate the energy consumption which should be consumed under ideal condition, and the ideal conditions are never there in the section because we have different speed restrictions in the section because of different reasons. Whenever we have the speed restrictions where the train has to stop or reduce the speed and accelerate, or if the number of alarm pulling incidences are high, again the railways will lose the speed and will be speed. So energy consumption will be high. Considering all these factors into account, we have worked out and on an average basis the amount of energy which should be consumed by the loco pilot during the one journey. And when we take the readings from the SMON, we compare the actual energy consumption against the ideal energy consumption. And if the mismatch is somewhere around 20% or more than that, he has consumed more than 20% of the energy than what was expected. And we also do the analysis further to know whether he was in the habit of ignition of quick brake acquisition, quick release execution, or whether he was controlling the speed using the complex through which he can regulate voltage is going to be traction motor, or he regulated the speed using the application of units. Then accordingly, the counseling is being given to the pilot so as to improve his overall driving skill. The SMON itself has resulted in a lot of energy saving in Indian Railway in electric traction, because now they know that who know that they are under monitoring the interval of every 10 seconds. It is very low. If we see that this entire Then some of you will say that I am doing monitoring. He also knows that the monitoring is continuous. His almost all the actions they are getting recorded in the S1, and any incidents may go against him during inquiry. So they have changed their behavior. Their driving skills have improved a lot. Now their intelligence has also come down. They are also very alert when they negotiate the speed restrictions wherever they are imposed. There are two ways of negotiating these speed restrictions. First one is that I control the speed to such an extent that I reach desired speed, say 1.5 kilometer prior to the point of speed restriction. Suppose there is a speed restriction of 30 km/h. That type of driving skill and one type of driving skill which is inferior type of driving skill. The local pilot controls the speed of the plane approximately 1 to 1.5 kilometer prior to the point of speed restriction. And for that much duration, it travels only at 30 km/h. So it's over controlling of the plane and the plane engine punctuality. The second option which is there is the optimal solution or the appropriate driving skill that at least should gradually reduce the speed. So as to achieve the speed by 30 km/h just prior to the speed restriction area, say prior 100 meter or 50 meters prior to the point of speed restriction. Then we call it that basic driving skill. He not only controls the speed, we don't feel jerks, and the train also does not lose the time. All such actions, they are also getting recorded in the small as to how did he perform while negotiating the speed restriction. And if we know that somebody is monitoring our performance, we become very alert. You may have noticed that there are certain shopping complexes or certain shops where they write that you are under CCTV surveillance, and actually there is no CCTV in that particular shop. So, but our action, it becomes we become attentive the moment we read that we are under CCTV. This is how we all work in real life, and we know that we are under monitoring, constant monitoring by somebody else. Our actions, they become in the manner which is acceptable to society. Here another equipment we have as the responsible device, also known as CDD. It checks the alertness of the crew through a multi-setting system, and there is a arrangement that we have to press a switch at a regular interval to make to give a signal to the equipment that he is alert and he is not sleeping. The exception is when he is doing some function like he is speaking up or speaking down, talking about nothing down, or he is applying the brake, or he has pressed the on, or he has initiated some signs of operation. If he is doing any of these activities, he is not supposed to press after every 1 minute to a device there, which is known as residence control device. Otherwise, after every 1 minute, he is supposed to press his thumb on this particular device to make sure to indicate or to show that he is alert. If the pilot does not do it, or user warning is issued to him. If he does not acknowledge even the audio user warning, the emergency brakes are applied, and all these events, they get recorded on the control device and be dialed by the controller for further action. In how many audio users and visual alarms were issued to him during the journey, he get immediately report, and how many times the emergency brakes were applied by the residence control device at what location, at what time. Everything gets recorded and can be analyzed to quickly performance. So this is another which keeps the local pilot alert throughout the entire journey. The third one is the anti-collision device. It was introduced by Company. The GPS system. It is provided in local brakeman stations and LCC, and the GPS coordinates they are exchanged to the satellite to identify whether more than one train is available in the same section or not. As provided in locomotives, if the trains are moving in opposite direction, so I should know the distance which is there between two trains. It is also provided in the brake line, so that if there is another train which has entered the system from the rear of the train, then I should also know the distance between the front train and the rear train. So we need GPS-based systems, ACC, in both loco, brake line, stations, LC gates, and different locations. We have provided LC gates so that when the train is approaching, router is sounded to alert the road users that train is about to come, and they should not try to hold to cross the LC gate right in front of the train. We have a large number of bajrangis in our system, and bajrangis, they also have very KTM type of motorcycles, which they feel that it can attain a very good acceleration at the shortest possible time. And all the manpower they want to display their muscularity at the LCK. So it's a warning for all those two-wheelers who stop their axles and not to cross the LCK. It also detects the parting and igniting of the trains, and in case the two trains happen to be close to the alarm sounded and the emergency brake application takes place. So this is the provision of electronic device. Here is a block diagram that provides CGD, have GPS receiver, we have a high-frequency data collector, modem, and motor and input. And different satellites are being used to have the accurate locations of the both the locomotives or the rear van, and the microprocessor-based control system keeps on monitoring the distances between two trains, and if required, the applies the brake to one of the train or to both the trains. The other one is the auxiliary one system that we have introduced in Mumbai area. It is a track magnet system which is working in the Mumbai area where the train runs at a headway of 4 meters. It is very low to be run at very high speed because we have electric vehicles, so acceleration and deceleration is very fast. So we need something that can control the speed of the train in case the loco pilot fails to react. So the very purpose of introducing a warning system to push in more number of trains in the system and without worrying about the response time of the loco pilot. Because if the loco pilot may become facing a sediment into his system, in case he is encountering a signal after every 3 to 4 kilometers, or if he is running one train after another train, short interval of 3 to 4 more minutes. So this equipment relieves the loco pilot from some of the responsibility, and it also issues auto signals, and the automatic navigation is also there. The loco pilot ignores the audio warning system. The data is again gets recorded and it sent for it is being sent for further investigation. This is the block diagram of IES. We have two magnet networks. In fact, magnet has some parameters regarding the aspect of the next signal, what is the maximum permissible speed in the station, whether there is any restriction. And then we have another magnet which is mounted in the middle of the both. We have two channels. One channel is for the data, for collecting the data or exchanging the data. And this is second one is the supervisory channel, which typically passes on the signal or the control system, or in fact creates the control operation. The primary data which is required to collect is the current speed of the locomotive, and the current speed of the locomotive, it is always compared with the aspect and the speed restriction or the speed limit which is there in this section. And whenever there is a mismatch or there is a over speed, then the loco pilot is want to take the corrective action. If he ignores the warning, automatic action takes place because we want to avoid the accident at any cost. And the signals are available in the driver's panel, on the driver's panel, and he keeps on getting the data about the next signal related in advance. So this is the block diagram of how the entire system works. It is successfully working. It works even during the monsoon period. This is something which is related to only that part of the country where we have a problem of fog during the winter season. When the visibility becomes very low and the clear visibility is as low as 1 meter away from the locomotive. When the visibility becomes so low, it is not possible for the pilots to see the traction mass or even to see the LC gates or signal section. And the pilot is moved between as low as 5 km per hour, and the planes, the large number of planes, they lose punctuality in the process. Whenever there is a fog, the instructions are that the loco pilot should reduce the speed to the position where he feels comfortable to drive the train. We don't force him to drive at 25 km because every fog pass, he may not be comfortable to drive the train at 25 km. So his comfort level is important to ensure the safety. And he during the journey he is heavily dependent on the proper working of the fog pass. So uh, this is how the fog pass it looks like. There is an entire equipment of GPS antenna, receiver, LCD module, which is there. The equipment, different fleet indicators, there are different sensitivities, and there is a processor which keeps on checking the location of the train. It compares their GPS data of the locomotive along with the GPS data of all the stationary locations which are important for the train. Compares the speed of the train and it issues a suitable warning to the loco pilot to take the correct direction. So it is made a portable device is issued to the pilot because same locomotive may be working in southern part of the country where there is no fog. So if I make it a equipment of the locomotive, then I need 10,000 devices to be provided in all the locomotives. Whereas if I make it a portable equipment, then I need fog devices for fog pass only in those two regions where we have the problem on the fog. So we not only save on the money, but we also save on the cost which is associated with maintenance of the fog pass. So these are some of the safety items that I have on the locomotive. The other one is the scale of rest of the running staff. This is the mandatory rest which is supposed to perform or to take at headquarters, at outstation, and otherwise. It is 8 hours. It is at outstation. You should take 8 hours rest if the running is more than 8 hours. If he is supposed to take rest of 6 hours, if running is less than 8 hours. So all these things are made there as per HUER, and HUER is supposed to be taken care of when we make the ruling. We are not allowed to bypass the rules of HUER because it may infringe safety. And if we bypass HUER, the responsibility will come on the officer concerned who has approved the duty roster for the crew. So nobody would like to get into that situation where he is personally responsible for some kind of collision or some kind of accident. So nobody overrules the provisions of such area. These are the special working conditions should also be taken into account when we make the ruling. The continuous night duty should not be exceeded by 6 nights. He should not remain out of his home, out of his work for more than 3 to 4 days. After every 3 to 4 days, he should come back to his home. And before he commences the journey or at the time of completion of the journey, we advise him that although he is going on rest, he should take rest. We can, as a railway officer, we can allow him to take rest for 8 hours. But whether he has actually availed those 8 hours for rest, or whether he has not availed those 8 hours for the rest, that is very difficult to ascertain. So it's a piece of advice which is always given to him that he should utilize it only for the rest, and he should not utilize that period to fulfill some of his social obligations. Is a twin beam headlight, it's a very powerful device equipment which is provided in the motor. There are two independent circuits for each headlight, and they can operate independently if one of the device becomes in operation. So that is all that I want to talk about safety features in the locomotive. Now I will discuss a the distributed action before we close the session. And I would also like to take 2 or 3 minutes of yours to explain the overall pattern of the question paper that you are going to have tomorrow. This is the last topic for today's discussion. That is the distributed action. We will quickly go through it. And some of the concepts I have already covered when we covered the three-phase locomotive. The basic definition of distributed power is when the generation of power is being done at different locations in the entire train. In conventional train, the generation of collective effort, it is being carried out by the locomotive, which is provided at the front of the train. But we have another arrangements where we can generate electricity or generate the power at different locations. Whenever we have such arrangement, it is known as distributed power-based traction system. The when we are generating power at different locations, ideally we should have independent crew to take care of the distribution and to operate some of the protective devices in case something is wrong with the generating equipment. But we only have one set of crew who is there in the front locomotive, and we control all other distributed power units either using a wireless technology or by using a wired technology. These are the 3 examples of distributed power: EMU, mainline EMU, train set, and push-pull operation. And over a period of time, all the slow-moving passenger trains, they will be moved, they will be replaced either by EMU or MEMU or DEMU or by train set. So we are on the way to move out the conventional passenger trains by either one of the distributed arrangement that is we have already introduced in Indian Railway. Push-pull operation is also important to increase the throughput of the section, to improve the overall speed of the train, and to cut on the travel time which is required to perform the journey. So these are the 3 examples where we are using the distributed power. So this is the slide that I would like to skip because we have already discussed the three-phase induction motors, and we have also discussed the advantages of three-phase locomotive. So now let us come to the advantages of multiple unit EMUs. These are some of the advantages that we have for EMUs that are being used in the area in some of the areas. Reversal at terminus makes the life of the operating department comfortable. We don't have to lose the time. The return journey can start immediately. The distributed motive power facilitates full use of train weight for addition. The addition at the wheel is good, so the train does not loses the tractive effort. It start and stop is smooth. Higher acceleration and braking is possible because the tractive efforts they are distributed uniformly within the entire train. Frequent precise stop is possible. Multiple units are possible. We can have a multiple different combinations of the coaches to increase or reduce the length as per the requirement. So these are some of the advantages that we have in EMU. These are some of the values or the advantages that we have on the for the three-phase EMU as compared to the existing MEMU. EMU, don't remember these data. I'm not asked this data in the exam. It is only for you to understand that the three-phase EMU, they are far superior as far as the acceleration is concerned, deceleration, maximum surface speed, or the specific energy consumption is involved. It is much more energy efficient as compared to the conventional locomotive. Conventional EMU, and this saving can be as high as 25%. So three-phase EMU, it is modern in technology, easy to maintain, it uses three-phase technology, and at the same time it is more energy efficient. So there are all pluses that we have for three-phase EMUs. So we are replacing all existing EMUs with the three-phase EMUs. The protection of conventional EMU has already been stopped by Indian Railway. This is This is the basic unit for EMU. That we have three. This is the end unit. We have the DC driving car or driving coach. We have the motor coach in between. We have the trailer coach or DC trailer car at the rear of the base unit. Base unit consists of three coaches. Similarly, we have the middle base unit where motor coach and trailer coach are identical in shape, size, and equipment. And we have non-driving trailer car because the particular coach is not supposed to drive the train. So we can have minimum of 9 coaches, and we can multiply the coaches in multiple of 3. So in this particular photograph, we have 2 end base units and we have 2 middle base units. So this combination has car rigs, which is now standard in Mumbai area. These are the equipments that we have in 3-phase EMU: transformer, traction motor, high tension compartment, the driver desk in the driving car. We have the central control unit. We have the LT cubicle where we step down the voltage from high voltage to low voltage for the control operation. And then we have the compressors, which is known as MCP. And non-driving the drilling car has no equipment. So you can see that motor coach has highest number of important components, and NTDC has no component at all when we talk about 3-phase EMU. These are different makes which are available in India. Again, don't remember the values. It is only to explain that there are 4 players which are operating in Indian Railway. 3 of them are multinational units, that is Alstom, Siemens, and Bombardier, who are providing us the rake. And the 4th one is the MEDA, which is an indigenous company of Indian Railway on India. In India, sorry. So we now have different manufacturers. Their designs are different. Their ratings of the equipment are different. So the life of the maintenance staff it has become complicated. It is not possible to train the staff of the maintenance to be fully conversant with the technologies of all these 4 rakes. So we have decided that we will have the distribution of the rakes in the zones as per the manufacturer. Some of the zones will get only Alstom make EMU, whereas some of the zones will get only Bombardier make EMU. It will make the number of inventories to bare minimum possible, and we can also specialize the maintenance activity at our cooking depots. So this decision has already been taken by the railway board and communicated for the ease of maintenance. Similarly, the bearings are also different. Again, you don't have to remember this. So the number of inventory gets increased if we want to have all type of rakes in all the zones. The roadway cleaning is very important because there was the complaint that the quality of air in the newly inducted 3-phase EMU was poor. Some of the environmentalist groups they carried out the sample and they established that the quality is not up to the mark. So now we have a special arrangement to clean the duct to make sure that the quality of air remains good throughout the journey. So every time the there is a cleaning cleaning is being performed. We have 3-phase EMU. It is similar to the menu, so similar to the EMU. Only difference is that all the equipment they are in the driving motor coach. We have no attractive effort generating arrangement in the trailer coaches. The base unit consists of 4 units, so we can have 8 car rake by having 2 driving motor coach that are facing in opposite direction, or we can have a combination of multiple of 4 to increase the length of the train. These are the parameters. Again, only for your knowledge, not for the exam, that it can be multiple of 4 per unit. This is a circuit, and it is 3-phase power circuit. We discussed this 3-phase power circuit in the logo. When I discussed 3-phase locomotive, it is an expanded view of it. On the left hand side, the equipment which is marked red is the transformer. The output goes to the converter. Somewhere in between the item number 9, 10, 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, they are part of the DC link that we have. Then we have converters, the converter again, and it goes to the traction motors, which are 3-phase AC motors. So this is the extended block diagram of what we see in the for the AC locomotive. We basic principle remains same. It is only the rating which is different between the locomotive and the EMU. This is how the driving motor coach looks like. Now, this is the last item which I am going to discuss in the class, that is the push-pull operation. It's a configuration where we have two locomotives at the end of the train. It can be driven from either end. Normally, we have only one set of view who remains stationed in the front locomotive, and the rear locomotive is controlled using multiple unit train control system that has been designed and approved by RTSO. It synchronizes push-pull operation in the sense that either both the locomotives should try to increase the speed, or both the locomotives should try to stop it. The mismatch should not happen. If there is a mismatch, there is bound to be a element or parting of the train. So synchronized operation is the basic requirement for push-pull operation. These are the advantages, that additional power is there because I have another locomotive, so average speed can be increased, the travel time can be reduced, and the acceleration and deceleration time can also be reduced because I have more power to pump into the train. This is how the data is transferred. The data is transferred between the front loco and the rear locomotive using the data cables. And the data cables, they are run from end to end through the coaches. So coaches also need modification. We have 22 core couplers which, for the transfer of data. 18 cores are being used for the exchange of data and the control signals and the other parameters. And 4 cores are kept as spare for future extension. Cables, they are laid in the core in a metallic conduit. We do it in the metallic conduit so as to avoid any damage to the cables during the run, and the underground underslung mounted cables or the conduit, it may get hit by some foreign components or some foreign material during the journey. So in order to protect them, we will use metallic conduit. These are some of the modifications which are required to be carried out in the locomotive. We need modification in loco software because it is not supposed to take care of the rear locomotive. Loco wiring is also to be modified because we have to run the control wire. The modification in operation of the compressors is also required because at a time I should be able to operate compressors from either end. The two compressors of this locomotive or one compressor each from each locomotive should be possible to operate it that way. Different combination modification of the compressors, and cabling scheme is also required to be changed. The control cabling scheme. In the coaches, RDSOs has already issued the instructions which are being implemented by different coaching boards in the Indian Railway. This is the last topic. As this is the software optimization, the main challenge, and it is interesting, was to negotiate the instruction smoothly by the locomotive. Suppose I open the VCB of the front locomotive, there is a possibility that TCB of the rear locomotive is also open, although it is not under the instruction. And by the time I close the VCB or DJ of the front locomotive, the VCB or DJ of the rear locomotive is also closed, and it can negotiate the intersection. Then there will be sparking and there will be issue. So we have to build in a time delay to ensure that the DJ of the rear locomotive, it becomes open only at the appropriate time. I could not hardwire it in the form of a time delay because the train will be negotiating neutral section at different speed. The driving skills are also different. For the same train, two different loco pilots may negotiate the section at different speed. So we have to calculate the time delay dynamically, and accordingly a signal should be sent to the rear locomotive to ensure the proper operation of the locomotive. So this is the immediately we send the command. The command immediately goes to the from master to locomotive to slave locomotive. There is a distance of 500 meters in between, and it should not immediately act onto it. The rear locomotive, it calculates the delay of time which is to be taken by it before it crosses the neutral section, and it calculates that delay, and after the assembly of that time, the body of the rear locomotive is open, and the entire train it negotiates the section in the journey. So first, the first loco it is already 500 meters away from the location of the radial section, and the DJ operation of the DJ is being performed by the rear locomotive. So it took a lot of time to get stabilized, but now the technology is stable. We are not finding any instances where there is a sparking at the neutral section or whether the DJ has not operated. These are some of the trains which are using the arrangement in their trains. So that is all that I had to talk to you for the for electrical engineering. Before we close the session on electrical engineering for this foundation, I now invite all of you to, in case you have any questions, then you may please ask. Otherwise, I will explain the pattern of the question paper that you are going to have tomorrow. The words converter, inverter, and the inverter and rectifier, they are actually the appropriate word. When we say converter means equipment which is converting either AC to DC or DC to AC. So converter includes both inverter as well as the rectifier. So converter is a general term. And if you want to talk specific, if you want to go into the specifics, we either say it's an inverter or it is a rectifier. Can somebody say whether I have screened the question paper in the previous session? No. Fine. All of a sudden. So all. Now everybody is writing. Actually, see, not writing earlier. Everybody is writing. So 9 questions all. The first question is compulsory. Have a multiple choice question and carry 10 marks. That is compulsory. Out of 50 marks, 10 marks is for question 1. We are left with 40 marks. There will be 8 more questions in the question paper, and you will have to attempt, you will be required to attempt 5 out of them. So each question will carry 8 marks. So 8 into 5 becomes 40. So the total in all you will be required to attempt 6 questions, 1 compulsory and 5 optional questions. Each question has more than one part, part A, part B, or part A, part B, part C. You have to attempt all the parts to make sure that you have attempted 5 question papers. Attempt not less than 5 optional questions, not less than 5 optional questions, not more than 5 questions. Questions, because I will be evaluating only 5. Even if you attempt 6, I will evaluate only 5 of them, not the 6 one. So my request to all of you is that attempt 5 questions, not more than 5 questions. There will be one question consisting of multiple choice, blanks, or true false configuration. It is also part. It is also one of the 8 optional questions. You will have the choice to attempt that question, or in case you don't want to attempt that question, you can leave it also. The entire question paper will have somewhere around 18 to 25 marks of the question. That will be questions. I have not asked for any circuit diagram, so you don't know when it's in the examination. ask to draw any diagram or all. Okay, so that is one thing. You don't have to remember the tables that are shown where I have compared the parameters of say phase movement in EMU or RMU to underslung. So those kind of tables I have shown you over this on the screen. You don't have to remember all those big data. I will call them data or the position of situation are very difficult to agree or very difficult to remember. So but still some of these which may require some elementary amount of data that you should remember. So question paper is designed in such a manner that the exam there will be few cases, maybe 4 or 5 cases. Unfortunate one for me, you may not be able to take question paper in total, but I'm sure you will be able to pass the exam. So, please go through my even if you go through my PPTs, and which PPT is getting next to that's very interesting question. Probably of maximum question to me in paper is that you will have to give me the answer after you attend the questions first. I can see from perspective of you which will be carrying maximum weightage. But I can only say that PPT is the longest one. It has maximum slides. I have tried to distribute the question paper equally. There was a balance. I tried to answer from engineering. Not weighted towards one particular subject. I hope I have done the justice to the distribution paper. It will depend when I get the answer sheet from your end, whether my percentage is right or not. I don't want to see one of you that is my sincere wish, and I'm also confident that you will not disappoint me and you will pass the exam. Read the question paper carefully, select the questions which you want to attempt, and the answers will be given in the space which is provided below the question paper, and the amount of space which is available below the question paper will give you an hint as to how much are you supposed to. Please don't write this is one question and leave the other questions, because I will not give you 40 marks if you do one question correct and leave all other 4 questions as it is without attempting it. So be precise, write to the point. Don't write kahani into it, because I'm not interested to read your stories, and in that process you may also waste time and you may find that the time is short for you. So be precise, write in the space which is given to you. You don't have to ask for the supplementary answer sheet, and do it properly. And the other point of caution is that when you place your tick mark, place it properly. Let me raise this point to all of you, and please pass it on to the other groups also. There are incidences when the officer he puts the tick mark in such a manner that it is neither here nor there. I am not in a position to find out whether he wanted to say A is correct or whether he wanted to say B is correct. And whenever there is a doubt, I do not evaluate it. So when you are putting a tick mark, please do it properly at the appropriate location, so that I know whether you wanted to answer A or whether you wanted to say C is correct. In case you are changing your answer from in the optional question paper, in the objective type of question paper, before you put the tick mark for the second time, cross the first tick mark. In case I find that 2 answers have been marked as correct, I will again not evaluate it. Sometimes in hurry, you may forget to, strike off the earlier option which you thought is correct. So you have to strike it off, mark it as a wrong answer, and you then tick mark at the appropriate option. These are the 2 precautions that you will please do take care of it when you attempt the multiple choice types of question paper. First is that there should not be any ambiguity, and And secondly, if you're changing your answer, do it properly. You are allowed to change your answers as many times as you want to do, but do it properly so that I know that you have done it intentionally. He is asking about a little clue. Kumar, I don't know whether he was present in my class or not. Otherwise, I could have answered him. He is asking for a clue about important topics to go through for must in order to pass the exam. There is no answer. There is no, what you call it. We call it Hindi. You call it Kundi. Where you have, in some of the colleges, they get the, set of fiction bank of say 20 questions or 40 questions, and like 5 questions will come out of that only. There's no such thing. Only thing that I'll say that you please try to understand the preferences into different schemes that I've explained. Try to remember the advantages, disadvantages, these basic preferences that the different technologies are there. So even if you remember part of it, you will be able to go through. And the functions of some of the equipments, whether it is loco, RD or coaches, there will be some sections related to the function of the equipment or the component. So even if you look at the terminology carefully, you will be able to judge what is expected you to write in the examination. So that is all that I can say. I cannot leave the question paper, but I'm sure most of you will be almost all of you will be able to pass it. If there is any other question, then let us continue. Otherwise, I think you have another session, and I also have another session at 4:30, which all of us are supposed to attend from our respective room. Thank you very much for attending all these 6 sessions with your videos on. So I kept those videos on so that you are attentive and you don't go at different locations, because if you are attentive, you are bound to see the slides, and even if you see these slides once, you will be able to understand the concept. That was the intention when I requested all of you to keep your videos on. I have noted the names, and I have not sent your names to anybody, not to any of the CD, because I don't believe in marking you absent, because all of you are responsible officers now. So I have not marked anybody absent in my class, and most of the classes they were interactive sessions. So I was quite satisfied with the way the interaction took place in the sessions. Fine. So with these words, I would like to close this session. We will be in touch, because we have a lot more responsibilities to perform before you actually make the foundation program complete. We have a lot of more formalities to be carried out regarding your remaining part of the stay and your relieving and allotting you the marks and other things. So let us see how it turns out to be. I will either contact you directly or I will contact you through your CDs. So either way, I am available in my office, in my chamber. All of you are welcome to visit me anytime for any doubts which is related to electrical engineering or any counseling that you would like to have from me. If you want to use my experience in railways or otherwise, you are always welcome. So thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Very much, sir.